So this is the resistively heated substrate that actually heats the nanotube catalyst. And once the fluid that you're My name is Desiree Plata, and I'm a professor in the Department of Civil and Environmental Engineering here at MIT. And the mission of my group is to change the way that we invent materials and processes. So this is called a 6-port valve. We try to use geochemical tools to understand how chemicals are going to move in the environment, where they'll end up, and what that means for potential exposures to human and ecological systems.
Make sure we're actually talking about the right subject.
I have always been passionate about the environment from a very young age. I'm from Portland, Maine, and my grandmother's home is situated in Gray, Maine. Gray, Maine sits atop one of the EPA Superfund sites called the McKinn site, and the McKinn site was responsible for the collection and disposal of hundreds of thousands of gallons of industrial waste annually from 1965 to 1978. The method of disposal at the time was to basically put these barrels of chemicals into an open pit in the ground. I didn't know about any of that until I was in college, but what I did know was that everybody in my grandmother's neighborhood was sick. The child up the street was born with an inexplicable neurological disorder. 2 doors down, there was a cancer. My grandmother and my uncle both had multiple sclerosis. A couple doors down was another cancer and another one. And I said to my mom, as I was realizing this, there has to be something in the air or water in this town that's making these people sick. So for the next 15 or so years, I gained the skills to try and be able to understand this problem. And about a year from graduating with my chemistry degree, my aunt, who had helped raise me, became sick with breast cancer. I ultimately found that there was chemical contamination in the drinking water in this town. One of the reasons I came to MIT as a grad student, not only for the great science, but also so I could take the bridge across the river to MGH and sit with her during her cancer treatments, which was really, a privilege for me, but made the mission of my work that much more salient. So that's really what I see as my role, is to be able to train future inventors and say the best way to do this is really at the point of inception of an idea, or maybe just past the proof of concept, where you start to say, okay, how am I making this, and how can I make it with consideration of the environment? But there's another level that we can't ignore, and that's already developed industries. And so one of the things that we've undertaken is the task of trying to understand how are natural gas extraction processes and alternative oil extraction processes being developed, and is there something that we can understand about the chemistry to try and prevent unwanted byproducts, because then we can have the same chemical intervention that protects the public health and also helps the industries. One of the things I emphasize in my group is we can't just be finger pointers anymore. We have to be part of identifying the solution. And sometimes that solution is actually really hard to find, because you don't just want a solution that works for you and makes a nice science story. You want a solution that's going to be adoptable and deployable in practice so that it can actually go on to affect people's lives.